Tom about this, but Caleb Jones looks like he's worked his way up there to at least the mix of the 2 deep. As a former line guy, what have you seen from him that's been so pleasing about his progress and his development since he's come here?
Well, first of all, I think he's the biggest person I've ever been around, and that's a good thing. We love length. But you know what I've been amazed by our freshman offensive linemen is how fast they've learned. And I think that's a credit to them. I think it's also a credit to Coach Hiller and what he's done with those guys. But Caleb, that you mentioned, has great length, great size, very athletic. He's even more athletic than what we thought on film. We knew he was athletic, but he has displayed more of that. And then, you know, Harry Kreider's obviously playing well too. So all the football we've thrown at these two guys, and you know, being around linemen in my past, I know how hard it is to develop those guys, and also, you know, all the different fronts and movement and things like that. They've done well.
The emergence, I don't know, maybe not emergence, but the play practice of Donovan Hale and how he's.
Donovan has really stepped up. He's made great plays in training camp. And he's competed every day, and you know, he obviously deserves to be out there.
Running back by committee, would you prefer at some point to have one guy, or if it ends up being the whole season, running back by committee, is that fine?
Well, you know, last year, when you look at last year's season, which I wasn't here for, but I obviously am aware of, is that, you know, that group got banged up quite a bit. And the more depth you have there and you can play more guys, that keeps guys, you know, more fresh. And so I think we've got a lot of good running backs. And so there's no reason that all those guys can't play. So, again, that keeps the guy that's in there fresh, keeps them, you know, everybody mentally into it. And so when it's their time, they got to go.
Defense, I'm trying to think about, okay, how to attack it. What are the 2 or 3 things that stand out the most about what Ohio State does very well on defense?
Yeah, I'm not going to get into really attacking them because, you know, I don't want to help them at all in this game. But, you know, watching them on film, number one, I think they're very well coached. You know, and I know Coach Shiano was there last year. Was heavily involved with it, but he'll have his little touch with it too. But when you watch them, I think it's a tough defense. I think they're tough from the front all the way back to the secondary. I think they're very skilled. I think they can run and get to the ball. So I think that you know, they've got basically a lot of good things there behind them.
But didn't really make a big statistical impact. He's gone through camp. Have you seen him just maybe being hungry to kind of get out there and, you know, make a role for himself?
Yeah, very much so. You know, I think one of the reasons maybe Ian didn't get to play right away is he came in like, I think I suppose he got here a couple weeks right before it started, you know, and so he had to learn everything new and all that. And also, too, what they did with their tight ends was totally different than what we're doing with them. So, you know, I feel like this offense is very much suited for a tight end that can run. And he's obviously very physical and strong. And so, yeah, and he's anxious to play, like everybody's anxious to play. You know, we've been through a great training camp and all that, but now our focus is obviously on Ohio State and get ready for them. And I think all of our players are anxious that way.
How do you kind of manage any butterflies your offense going to have?
Me or the offense? I don't. You know, we don't talk too much about that. We talk about really the focus, and everybody has their own focus. Everybody's a little different that way too. And so I think that, you know, I get the butterflies before every game. And I think if you don't get the butterflies a little bit, something's wrong, you know. You're getting ready to compete. And when you get ready to compete, you know, it's a different mindset. And I think, you know, we as coaches, we really tried to just talk about Ohio State, what they do, and then really about us. I mean, we've got to take care of what we do. And when you talk about that offensively, we got to take care of the football. We can't turn it over like what happened last year. That's last year. But we got to make sure we protect the football. And but again, I think it's just all focus, you know, on the mental part of it, getting ready to play the game. And again, a lot of players are different in how they do that.
Coach, what are you guys doing to help Richard cut down on interceptions and working with him in practice, keep him sharp?
Well, Nick Sheridan, our quarterback coach, and myself, we really tried to talk to him about he didn't have to make plays. He really doesn't. Whatever's given, take it. And if it's not, then check it down to the back or get it down to whoever's maybe the secondary receiver, whatever. But I keep saying this over and over. I said it to him. You don't have to be a hero. Just be a quarterback. That's it. Just play the game like you're supposed to play it. And I told him, I said, it's my job to get you into a better play, not your job. So, and he's really bought into that. He's done a great job of protecting the football. He's got great understanding of the offense. I said this earlier in an earlier press conference, but we were in a 2-minute drive, and the defense had really gotten a lot of depth in their drops, and he checked it down to the back turned, and got a first down. And that's playing smart football. And, again, we want all of our players to play that way, but obviously a lot of attention's on him because he's the quarterback. And I have the greatest confidence that he'll do that, without a doubt.
Once again, this is all on paper right now, but Ohio State's defensive front seven is pretty celebrated. You got 3 new starters on the offensive line. What have you seen from your offensive line in camp that has you going into the game feeling like they can handle that?
Well, I think our offensive line has been really solid this whole training camp. And, I think we're going to have to do things play-wise that help them too. And so, whatever that may be, I'm not going to get into, but we've just got to, you've got to attack them in a lot of different ways, in my opinion. You just can't line up and play one-dimensional either way. And so we've got to help them that way. But I have great confidence in our line right now. I mean, they're blocking well, and, we just got to take it into the game that way.
Is that something that you've kind of been able to gauge a little bit in terms of what you've seen in practice?
Sure, there's no doubt. I mean, Coach Allen's defense is very moldable and give you a lot of different looks, and that's great for us. And, it makes you play football the way it should be, with being able to run the ball, obviously with the inside game, the outside game, and then also throwing it quick, getting rid of the ball quick, and also you got to be able to take shots down the field. So, that's I think playing to their strengths.
You guys struggled in the red zone some. I know you weren't here, but have you put in any new offense in the red zone or been on harping anything big in camp red zone offense?
Sure. I mean, again, it's a total new system. When we came in, we looked at, what they had done in the past, but, we had our system, and so we were going to come in and put our system in, and we looked at the players we had and how we could play to their strengths that way with the system. But, it's totally, when you look at spread runs are spread runs. I mean, you can watch everybody do basically the same thing in the running game, but it's what are you doing in the throw game? And that's where I feel like our passing game is totally different than a lot of spread offenses. In my opinion, it's a NFL throw game system out of one back because you're in spread. So, that's where I feel like we're a little bit different. So to answer your question, yes, we have a lot of new things in the red zone. And, we've been successful down there, and we got to continue that.
Part of Richard's confidence in protecting the ball, having him have input on play calling in terms of what he's comfortable with, has that been part of increasing his confidence and increasing his feeling comfortable with the offense?
Yeah, and I think Nick Sheridan is an outstanding quarterback coach. I spent 2 years with him in Tennessee where he coached the quarterbacks by himself. And he was the guy that, when Tom and I were talking about this position, he was the guy I wanted there. And I give a lot of credit to Nick and how he teaches those guys and then what he stresses. And so that's where it starts. But also, too, and like what you said, to play quarterback, you got to have great confidence in the play call. You do. When that thing comes in, you go, yeah, I love this call. And that's where I want him to be able to, to talk to me before the game and then through the game, et cetera. But You know, I want him, again, when something's called, he's going, this is what I want. This is what I love this play right here. Because when a quarterback feels that, then he's going to execute it. Now, when a call comes in, he goes, uh-oh, you know, then guess what? There's not a lot of confidence there. So that's part of the preparation as we game plan.
Have you had that conversation about you don't have to be a hero, you just have to be the quarterback, let you call the play?
Well, really, every year I've coordinated. You know, starting out in '97 with Brian Greasy, as you know, I told him that, and then it went to Brady and et cetera, all the way down, and Josh Dobbs, exact same thing. I mean, I've always tried to have a great relationship with the quarterback because I feel like, you know, he's me out on the field basically, and I want him to feel confident in that. I don't get after quarterbacks very rarely ever because I know how hard that position is to play, and if I got something to say to him, then I'll say it one-on-one and in a quiet manner that way because that's a tough position. You know, a lot of times when everybody's watching a game, who are they watching? And, you know, very rarely it's the center or the guard, you know, unless they blow a block. But, you know, all eyes are on that guy. And so I've always tried to do that. I've always tried to have a great relationship with them and so that they feel like they're part of that offense as far as the scheme of it as well. So I've always done that.
Any more questions? All righty.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Thank you. Have a good day.